Hi friends, I've been reading the story of Ruth with a wonderful group of ladies in the Joy Circle Morning Bible Study. And I wanted to share with you this powerful passage that we covered in our class this week on Tuesday. This comes from the part in the story, perhaps you remember the background. So Naomi has lost her husband and both her sons. And her daughter-in-law Ruth has lost her husband. But has chosen to accompany Naomi in returning from the land of Moab, where they have been living during a famine, back to Bethlehem. They have no future plan really at all. They don't know what the future brings, and they don't know how they're going to fare in returning to Naomi's homeland. But they have heard that there's food there. And so Naomi goes. Ruth comes along as a foreigner and of a tribe that was an enemy of Israel. And here they come. And as the two of them are coming to Bethlehem, to Naomi's hometown, just bereft of anything that gave them hope and stability in life, it says in chapter 1, verse 19, the two of them went on until they came to Bethlehem. When they came to Bethlehem, the whole town was stirred because of them. And the women said, "Is this Naomi?" She said to them, "Call me no longer Naomi," which means pleasant. "Call me Mara," bitter. "For the Almighty has dealt bitterly with me. I went away full, but the Lord has brought me back empty. Why call me Naomi when the Lord has dealt harshly with me and the Almighty has brought calamity upon me?" So Naomi returned together with Ruth the Moabite, her daughter-in-law, who came back with her from the country of Moab. They came to Bethlehem at the beginning of the barley harvest. End chapter 1. Now, I love how this chapter ends because there's a little bit of foreshadowing there. There's a hint of the hope to come. They came to Bethlehem at the beginning of the barley harvest. Now, what happens at the site of the barley harvest is going to change their fortunes. It's going to change the fortunes of the nation, in fact. But they don't know that yet. They're still living in extreme uncertainty about what the future holds and whether they'll even survive. And Naomi is filled with all of this bitterness, this bitterness that drives her even to want to forsake her own name. And we talked a lot about this prayer, this lament that Naomi utters, and how often it's hard to come into a community of faith with that kind of a prayer because you feel like maybe you're doing it wrong, that you're not demonstrating enough faith, that you're supposed to have it all together, that you're supposed to feel hopeful, you're supposed to feel positive, you should be looking on the bright side, etc. Naomi's not there. She's feeling her emptiness, she's feeling her loss, and she's feeling her sorrow in a profound way. And I love that what Ruth, her faithful daughter-in-law, does is not to try to comfort her, not to try to reassure her with platitudes or cliches or empty phrases. She simply comes back as a companion and someone who's ready to do the work that she is able to do. There is precious little that these women control, but she is ready to do the work that she can do one day at a time. To help better their fortunes, and it does turn into a blessing. But I think about that because I know, friends, that a lot of us are weary, and a lot of us are caring for people that are weary, whether it's in our professional lives or just as friends and neighbors, as people in a community that's been taxed by these 2 years of pandemic. And I want to assure you, that it's okay to pray a prayer of lament. And B, that it's okay to come alongside somebody who's lamenting and not say much of anything. That companionship itself, the fact that Ruth doesn't walk away from Naomi's lament, is enough. It turns out to be enough. And that sometimes we don't really know what the future holds for us or what the plan is going to be. We're used to, as Westerners and in fairly prosperous conditions, of being able to plan ahead, being able to anticipate a little bit more about the future than many of us are able to do right now. Naomi and Ruth did not have that luxury, but Ruth did carry the strength and the resilience to do the next right thing, which would be on the day that follows this one, to go into the fields and glean what was left over when the harvesters had gone through. And it so happens that in doing so, she catches the notice of a prominent man of worth and wealth named Boaz, who happens to be Naomi's kinsman. You could read the rest of the story in Ruth, but I think that the story of these women's journey has a lot of resonance for us today. And as I listen to the women that I'm exploring this with, I discover even more. So I wanted to offer that to you with a blessing on whatever prayer it is emerges from you at this time, and a blessing on your ability to be a companion to others in a time of uncertainty. I offer a prayer that comes from the Bible study of Ruth that we have been exploring together. I will share the prayer that began our last session together. God of all nations and peoples, be with us in our homecomings. Be with us in the risks we take as we venture into new places. Be with us in our settled lives as we welcome the stranger. Help us to be people of truth-telling and gratitude. Meet our sorrow with blessing and surprise. All this we ask in the name of Christ. Amen.